Welcome to Mud to the Subs. And today we're going to tell you exactly what Mud to the Subs embody, which is the actual journey from going from the mud to the subs. If you look at the top here of our wall, guys, it says, first of all, let's thank God for the blessing of a brand new day and the opportunity to once again enhance self. God could have made your whole life one sunrise and one sunset, but he chose to break it down. So no matter how dark it has been, today we have been blessed with the light of another day. So that first of all, ... represents that saying. And here's the tree. We all start off as a seed, small. We grow, we get bigger. We not only grow in physical form, we grow mentally, we grow spiritually, we grow emotionally. So the tree starts off small and it gets big. Part of being humble is remembering where you came from. So in other words, imagine as big as this tree is, as tall as it is, imagine the tree telling the seed it's insignificant. It makes no sense. The seed is the tree, and you're the same thing. It is significant. So you got to look back on your past, believe in yourself, and grow to where you want to go. We're going to start here with the mud part of it. If you guys look at this building here, this actually represents Fifth Street, Washington Street, Fifth Street projects in Philadelphia. Look at it is. If you look at how tall it is, it's like, I don't know, 25 stories high. And then you got sometimes 5 to 10 different apartments on each floor. That's a lot of people living in one space. And there used to be more than that one building. There actually was like I believe it was 3 or 4. I was a kid at the time. But it was a lot of people living there, and it creates poverty. It creates a lot of problems when you go into the hood and you come from the mud. Some of the problems that it has is what? You got this woman here. She's pregnant. As you look here, there's no father. There's no father figure around. She doesn't have a car. She got the little flip-flops on. The little boy is dragging in the other direction. What does that represent? A lot of times the little boys in the communities, they're looking for male leadership. They're looking for, male role models. Sometimes the father's absent. Sometimes the father's absent because of the father, and sometimes the father's absent because of the mother. She may have already moved on to another man and decided this guy is no longer needed, but in reality, the man-child is needed to be in the kid's life. Look at the bills here, guys. Look at past due bills. How many of us came into certain communities in the so-called subs and the kids are 18, 19 years old and they got great credit? But coming from where we come from, a lot of times, in order to keep the lights on, in order to keep the phone on, this is, pre-cell phones, mom had to put things in your name just to keep the bills on. And why did she have to do that? Because she was dealing with so many different past due bills. Look at the pain here. The man wearing a mask, but he has one red eye. That represents somebody that's going through something. Drugs, they're hiding that. Represents crime. What does that lead to? It leads to handcuffs. It leads to punishment. Let's talk about the dice for a minute. Yeah, it says 7, and we know 7 is a two-sided sword. If you play craps in the hood, if you roll that 7 in the beginning, then you're doing well. But if you roll that 7 after you hit a number, now you crap out. Imagine going through life or deciding that your future is just based on a crap roll. That's a crap situation. You don't know what's going to roll. You don't know what's going to happen. If it's going to be a 7 in the beginning, if it's going to be a 7 at the end. Sometimes people in those particular situations, they feel like the only way out is just to roll a dice. So they end up doing things that put them in jail or just doing anything that doesn't make any sense. We got a guy here that represents pain. When you deal with poverty, when you deal with having to be in a particular situation where you feel like your life is just a crap roll, you can feel a lot of pain. And what does pain do? Pain leads to drugs. Pain leads to violence. Let's be honest. A lot of people are on drugs because they're running from reality. I'm going to say that again. A lot of my family members, people that I love, they went to drugs because they were running from a reality. It was an opportunity to feel good about completely abandoning all of your responsibilities. And you need a drug to soothe the pain. Violence, guns, sometimes for protection, yes, but sometimes it's also for committing felonies and things of that nature, or killing the ops, killing the people right across the street from you through frustration. And then the people who may not be into that, they got to carry the gun to protect themselves. Got the knife here with the blood. Let's look at the house right here. What does this represent? You have a house right here. This is an abandoned house. And then you have a house here. It looks like it's well kept. This might be somebody that actually is a homeowner in the hood. But because his house is next to an abandoned house, it brings down his property value. It's not worth as much. And this guy's trying right here. You have this tree here, and you go to some parks in the subs, and they may have a zip line. They may have a nice zip line. I've been there. I lived there. Great parks. But here, you see the tires wrapped around a tree. That is our zip line. That is our playground a lot of times. Sometimes the playgrounds are taken over because people out there used to play dice, or it was a great place for people to sell drugs, so the playgrounds were so unsafe. You have the mattress here. For some people who don't know, it looks just like a mattress, but a lot of people don't know some of the greatest people who could flip in the hood, like little gymnasts, they used to have to practice on these little pissy mattresses, and that's where they learn how to flip or develop their skills. Look at the car here. This is an abandoned car. If you look at the back of the car, what you see is a broken tire. What does that mean? In this particular neighborhood, they consider it worthless. That's why they don't come tow the car. If you break a car down in a really, really nice neighborhood, trust me, that car is not going to sit there that long, but for the city's going to come remove that car. But in the places that we come from, again, some more drugs over here, it represents that. And what does it also represent? All we dream about is money. So many people in our hood are so concerned with not looking poor. They're so concerned with not looking like they need anything. This is why they're so in love with the labels. We're so in love with the labels. We're so in love with, I got a couple of dollars in my pocket. But in reality, the truth of the matter is the people in the subs, a lot of them are concerned with not being poor. That's why you notice they had the bad sneaks on and things like that, but they live in huge houses. So this is some of the mud of the things we come from, and we want to talk about why we want to move over to the subs for our families. Why do we want to do that? Because look at the housing. When you go to the houses over here, there's not 25 stories with 10 houses, 10 apartments on each floor. It's just one house. You look at it as one house, but technically it's two houses. We just call this thing here a garage. That's a house for your car. Isn't that amazing? Look at the way you can walk here. Trophies, giving out trophies at those spots in those communities. The schools are totally different. I took my son to a school in a really nice neighborhood, and he said, "Dad, I didn't even know schools like this existed except on TV." You know what I mean? Until he went there. Look at the books, encouraging reading, because reading is the soil and the fruit of knowledge, and you grow into having knowledge. So that's why the flowers are coming out of the book. In these communities, they're a lot of times encouraged to read, sitting down and reading the kids' book. And it doesn't mean a lot of these traits don't happen in our community. It absolutely does. But at the end of the day, even if your mom is reading to you, even if your mom is protecting you, when you walk out of that door, you still got to come deal with the pain. You still got to come deal with the drugs. You still got to do all the past due bills, and you still got to deal with the form of oppression of just being around so many people who just don't have enough. You understand? Let's look at the playground right here. You notice how the tree is providing fruit and things of that nature, and the kids are playing in the playground, and the playground actually works. Nobody's hustling in the playground. Nobody's, shooting dice in the playground. Nobody's selling drugs out of that playground. Look at the music here. You might say that beatbox, maybe that belongs on the other side. No, it doesn't. The reason why I love the beatbox on this side right here, because if you play loud music in certain communities and things like that, or you gather together, y'all loitering, y'all need to break it up, what you doing, but in other communities, it's just a bunch of kids having fun. I've experienced that depending on the income level. Look at the schools. No graffiti there. It's a nice school. It's beautiful. They have better food. They have sometimes, no offense, but they sometimes have better teachers, people who are really highly educated in these schools. And that doesn't even mean just a private school. It could just be a public school. They don't need a charter school in certain communities, because in those particular communities, the so-called public school is on collegiate level. You know what I mean? So this is what the subs is about, more people graduating. It's a fact. You go to nicer schools and nicer communities, more people graduate in those communities than they graduate in our communities. So yes, there's nothing wrong with where we're from, because remember I said the tree cannot tell the seed is insignificant, but it's also nothing wrong with wanting better for your family and wanting better for your own children, or creating these type of communities. How do we do it? We need purpose. How do we do it? We need to be focused. That's to get success. How do we do it? We have to have accountability. How do we do it? We have to be motivated. These are the type of things that we need. We have to prepare for our goals to be successful. As long as we prepare, as long as we motivate it, as long as we hold ourselves accountable, as long as we have purpose, as long as we focus, and as long as we believe that we can be successful, then we can embody the movement of Mud to the Subs. And I look forward to all of you guys doing it. Thanks for tuning in. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.